Nikhil, we've spoken about this at length. We earlier thought it was the case of cricket, but now there is badminton. And of course, let me not even go into the arrangements that happened and the pigeon poop that was found on that badminton court, but also chess players now saying that, listen, this is going to impact everybody. How are we going to, live up to our Khelo India dreams, CWG Olympics, if this is the reality?
Well, they're absolutely right with that, Sonal. And you know what? It is not an issue that you're highlighting just this year. Just a little while earlier in your story, you had mentioned that Danish players have not been coming here for 3 years in a row. Yeah. Has that been a deterrent? Has that resulted in the government acting? Listen, we live in times where we're very sensitive about how our country is perceived in the rest of the world. And then we have a situation where players do point out these major concerns when they come. And let me tell you quite honestly, I've been to a lot of those stadiums and their concerns are very genuine. The reason that they don't want to risk and have any long-term health implications are very genuine. But you know how most of us react on two counts. One, I think if the authorities were very serious about India's image, and those authorities can be at a sporting level or at a central government level, I'm sure they would have moved something in the last 3 years. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. And the other reaction that I quite often see, and that is mostly amongst fans, and they come out in defense of the country saying that, listen, if you don't like playing in India, then why do you, even bother coming here? I don't think that's the solution. I think you need to find a solution to ensure that this is a viable country for the rest of the world to come and participate in. And let's not just limit it to international athletes. Let me give an example. If you're staying anywhere in North India, it's not just restricted to New Delhi alone, anywhere in North India, and to an extent even in Eastern India, if you're a budding sports person, 6 months of a year, you can't be playing. And I speak to a lot of coaches that are not coaching at the international level, but at a domestic level, let's say, kids at a school level or at a district level. Most of the parents will not send their kids to come out of practice for 4 months in the winter months. Then you have the peak summers where they just cannot, it's not physically possible for you to practice. Any child who doesn't practice for 6 months in a year in a competitive environment cannot end up being a sports person. So it's a larger issue that needs to be dealt with, but unfortunately we've not seen the needle move in the last 5 years or so.
Is it because, Nikhil, that Indian players are perhaps not speaking up enough? The only Indian player we've had is the chess tournament actually. They're the ones who can actually afford to sit inside a, air-purified room and play the chess properly. But apart from that, is it because Indian players are not speaking up?
That is a fact. I must admit that's a fact. We've had few players speak about it. I remember in a recent match in cricket, you had Hardik Pandya, who was wearing a mask before the game was to start, and he had to then endure a lot of trolling on social media, because anytime you put on a image which is detrimental to that of the country, players come under scrutiny, they have to face a lot of hate on social media. So then players avoid that. And secondly, I think it is also against the grain of a lot of Indian sportsmen, just how sports is run, to be speaking against the authorities. Remember, they're at the mercy of those authorities to be selected to be playing for the country. I think those things in place, you often do see players not speaking enough about the pollution issue. Yes, they on occasion will talk about administrative issues, but not so much about pollution issues.